female recruits. If you think the sheer number of allegations is disturbing, wait until you hear from one victim. CNN's Randy Kay investigates in a report that was a joint project with the Associated Press and 360.
Shedrick Hamilton was a Marine sergeant, a popular and respected recruiter.
He had that uniform on and everybody trusted him.
Yet he had a terrible secret.
I had no idea. I didn't ever think anything happened. I vouched for this man when my husband questioned why. Why was he calling all the time? It's Hamilton. Everybody, the kids loved him.
Especially Trish Junta's daughter, Jill, until
he had told me in the back of the car, and, again, I kept saying no, I didn't want to do it.
Sergeant Shedrick Hamilton first raped Jill Gunta on Valentine's Day nearly 3 years ago. She was just 16 years old. Sergeant Hamilton was 34, married with 2 children.
I woke her to go with him.
As a mother, do you feel, am I seeing guilt? Is that what that is?
Well, there was a lot of guilt. I handed her to him. I signed permission slips for her to go with him. I thought she was safe.
The sergeant drove Jill to Marine Corps physical training, a program to involve kids in the Marines in hopes they'll join. Nearly every week he picked up Jill at her home in his government car and drove her to this New York recruiting center. Until one day he made a sharp turn down this deserted road, not even a mile from Jill's home.
He just started doing what he wanted to do, and I would just sit there and just look off, and tears would just come down my face and stuff like that, and he just finished up what he wanted to do.
Help me understand why, after the first incident or even the second incident, why didn't you run home and say, Mom, help me, this guy is attacking me?
He kept making sure that I knew, and he would repeatedly tell me that nobody would find out about this, nobody would believe me.
As disturbing as it is, Jill's story is not unique. An investigation by the Associated Press found last year at least 35 Army recruiters, 18 Marine Corps recruiters, 18 Navy recruiters, and 12 Air Force recruiters were disciplined for sexual misconduct or other inappropriate behavior with potential enlistees.
In 2005, 80 recruiters were disciplined for sexual misconduct, with more than 100 victims.
AP reporter Martha Mendoza found across all services, 1 out of 200 recruiters, those who deal directly with young people, was disciplined for sexual misconduct. The abuse ranged from inappropriate touching to rape. In Pennsylvania, an Army recruiter pleaded guilty to having sex with a 14-year-old girl. In Wisconsin, a Marine Corps recruiter was recently charged with sexual assault and false imprisonment of a potential female enlistee. He's pleaded not guilty. In Indiana, a National Guard recruiter was indicted for allegedly assaulting 8 different potential recruits outside schools, in cars, and in recruiting stations. He's out on bail pending trial.
Why are there so many cases of sexual misconduct among recruiters? Remember, the No Child Left Behind Act was passed in 2001 in part to help grow the military's ranks. No Child Left Behind guarantees schools federal funding as long as they grant recruiters access to students on campus. Unlike the rest of us who have to show ID, recruiters can walk right in, no questions asked.
I would be sitting in class, and then my teacher is tapping me on my shoulder saying that to go outside the classroom because somebody needs to speak to me, and it was him.
No Child Left Behind also mandates recruiters be provided with students' home phone numbers and addresses.
I definitely feel like he was stalking. Times where he would call the house and he would tell me my bedroom window, and he would be sitting in the government van right on the corner of the street.
Shedrick Hamilton pleaded guilty. He was convicted of rape and endangering the welfare of a child and sentenced to prison. At sentencing, the judge called Hamilton a child molester and a disgrace to his country and his uniform. Sergeant Hamilton spoke with the Associated Press from jail.
I ended up putting myself into a position to where I sought out comfort in a young lady that I shouldn't have done. I allowed myself to get caught up into the wrong situation at the wrong time, and I have no one to blame but myself.
The Department of Defense declined our request for an on-camera interview, but issued this statement to CNN. All military recruiters are briefed in regard to the conduct and ethics required of them and receive training. The Department of Defense has zero tolerance for misconduct by military recruiters. The Pentagon says it is now monitoring its recruiters and will evaluate whether it needs to change its policy. But that comes only in response to the AP report and a Congressional Accountability Office study which found the DoD does not track all allegations of recruiter wrongdoing. In January, having served 2 years for rape, Shedrick Hamilton is expected to be released.
This is my child. He hurt my child. So, I'm going to watch him.
Jill Junta, now 19, has decided not to join the military, but to go to college and become a police officer instead. And she's made a promise to herself, when she puts on that police uniform, never to abuse her authority. Randy Kay, CNN, Monroe, New York.
It is a remarkable story. Coming up, what everybody is talking about.